Today, we are joined by Alex. I'm not even going to pretend to announce his last name. Opacic.
We'll go with that. That's close enough. I like it.
We are absolutely in for a treat today. I got introduced to Alex recently by another mate, and he said, you guys should do a podcast together. And when I did a deep dive on who Alex was, I was instantly fascinated to find out more. Instantly fascinated. Founder of Athlete to Business, a recruitment agency. It sounds like you're placing athletes into corporate roles. You wrote a book called Athlete to Business. You've got a podcast where you interview athletes or semi-pro and professional athletes who have made that transition and asking them to go through what those steps look like, what works, what doesn't, what's hard, what's easy, that sort of stuff. And I think that's a fantastic concept in itself. It's very clear what your niche is. So it's I've got 1,000 questions, so let's jump in.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
I have to guess that all of this is drawing upon your early days as a semi-pro athlete.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I was a basketball player. So I played college basketball in the US. Was kind of actually I was in the under 19s Australian national team as a junior. From there, I got selected to go to college in the US and play NCAA Division I basketball, which was pretty cool. I got to play against the likes of Stephen Curry, who's one of the greats today.
Wow!
Certainly, he whooped us on the court, but all good. So yeah, that was a great experience. And then I played professionally in Europe for a couple of years. Hurt my knee. I came back home to Sydney, got knee surgery, and then played semi-professionally for about 2.5, 3 more years, and then I had another 2 knee surgery. You know, the typical athlete story, mate. I could have been Michael Jordan if I didn't get injured. You know, one of those stories. But injuries derailed my career, and during my time as a semi-professional athlete, man, you don't get paid a lot playing semi-professionally, so I had to get a job as well, and it was just during that time, like I really struggled, man. I've been playing basketball all my life, college in the US 4 years, another 2 years professionally in Europe, and my goal was I'm going to be a professional basketballer until I'm 60. You know, just whatever, just keep playing. Not once have I thought about what else I'm gonna do. I had a bit of ideas, spoke to people, but no, I'm all in on this basketball thing. And then when I was looking for a job whilst playing semi-pro, mate, I just had no idea where to go, what to do. Didn't know who to turn to. It's a bit of a depressive time, to be honest, in my life. Just, mate, it's not on my resume. You won't see it anywhere on the internet. But bounced around like 10 different jobs. I was fired by a few. I quit a few. It was just a tough time. Long story short, eventually I landed in sales. We spoke off air earlier with Southern Cross Austereo in the media world, and then my kind of sales business career took off from there. But whole reason I started this business is because I noticed so many other athletes struggle with that transition like me. Yeah. And I also noticed a lot of athletes, once they actually figure it out, what's next, where do I put all that energy in, tend to be weapons in business and especially in sales. So I started the business to bridge that gap.
I love this. And I know a few, I've got a few mates I grew up with who ended up playing for the Wallabies and ended up playing for various NRL teams. No one who played professional basketball, but I was basketball. I just was way too short. So story of everyone's life. Never sprouted enough. Probably never good enough either. But 100%, like that tunnel vision you have on your sport and your passion, it's hard to even think of a life outside of that. And that moment where you start to realize that, shit, I'm going to have to actually think about this. I can imagine that being a huge challenge in that there's almost an expectation that I need to be as passionate about this sport as I will, like in the professional sphere. And it's almost an impossible ask, isn't it? Because sport is a passion thing. Work is not a passion thing. You kind of learn to love it, I feel.
Mate, 100%. It's one of the biggest reasons athletes struggle with that transition. It was why I struggled, is because we assume, well, I've been doing this thing all my life where I'm so passionate about it. Like I wake up in the morning, I'm chasing my dream to play in the NBA. Like I love basketball, I love training, I love the hard work. It's a passion, and then all of a sudden that ends, and you're doing a regular job, and you're like, well, hold on, I'm not not that passionate about this. This sucks. Let's move on to the next thing. No, I don't love this either. This sucks. Let's move on to the next thing. And it becomes just soul crushing, man. Like, you're so used to doing something that you love, all of a sudden you don't love this new thing that you're doing, and you quit, or you don't apply yourself in it. So I get athletes to switch their mentality. I switch my mentality, focus on learning and upskilling as opposed to finding passion. And just forget about passion. Like, that shit doesn't grow on trees. You know what I mean? As an athlete, you don't know that. And eventually, when you get really good at something, you start then learning, getting passionate about it.
Yeah, and that sounds like the right advice. My obvious question to you is, you target athletes who are coming off the professional or semi-professional sort of like track, and directing them into the world of work. I'm curious. I come from a really specialist background, so when I'm working with a candidate, they've got a skill I know the market wants, and it's a very tight bunch of clients who are going to want that. How does this work for you guys? Because you're taking athletes. They could be anything. They could be a real estate agent. They could be in sales. They could be in, I don't know, like creative direct. Like, how do you make sense of that market? I can understand making sense of, I'm going to take these people who are athletes, but then where does it go? How do you make sense of it? Who do you pitch to? I'm really fascinated about this part.
Brett, it's 5 years later, Matt. I'm still trying to make sense of it. Look, it's a really, really good question, and a long, 5-hour answer I'll boil down to 30 seconds. I've got two parts to my business. One part is taking athletes that are retiring from their sport into the corporate world, and I partner with companies who really, really value mindset and potential. Right? Yeah, it's clear line. Like, this person does not have the skill to do what you're hiring them for, or in this particular job. However, give them 6 months to 12 months. I guarantee you they'll be better than most of your tenured professionals. So I partner with companies who believe that, right, who want to hire for potential. That's half of my business. So most of the time it's in entry-level sales roles. Funnily enough, recruitment as well. A lot of recruitment agencies hired athletes from in the past. Some real estate agencies, buyers agencies. Most commonly it's sales, and then a couple of enterprise businesses where they take on athletes for their graduate programs. It's a unique talent pool that I bring, right? So again, purely hiring on potential as opposed to ready-made skill. The other half of my business is more focused on the ready-made skill. Mate, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of athletes in business already dominating from CEO level down to junior sales professionals with 1 to 2 years experience. A lot of them are former athletes, and my mission and my business actually gives me a unique go-to market strategy in headhunting these individuals. So in that instance, skill is the main focus. It's almost irrelevant if they're an athlete or not to the client, because they're hiring somebody for that skill. However, it's relevant for me because that athlete angle enables me to build rapport with that person immediately. Mate, like, you'll be surprised the amount of returns I get on my cold LinkedIn recruiter messages, purely because it's very tailor-made. And hey, I've noticed you were an AFL player 35 years ago. Amazing. Well done. Now you're a CEO. I've got this new role for you. I'd love to connect. And it's like, whoa, what a unique cold message. I get thousands of messages from recruiters. I never reply, but yours is really unique. Literally, that's the only reason that athlete angle works for the skilled professionals.
Do you ever find yourself venturing outside of the athlete backdrop? Like, do you go, damn, I've got this brief. That person looks really good, but they're not an athlete.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mate, look, the business started off in Australia. So in Australia, absolutely, the market's way too small of athletes. I wouldn't exist if that was the case. Did some work in Southeast Asia, but recently actually ventured out into the US. In the US, no, millions of athletes. So
That's
a lot
very
of
different system.
Yeah, different system. So I don't really have to venture outside of the athlete angle.
Turning now to your podcast, is it called? It's Athlete to Business Podcast.
Yep, plain and simple.
Who's the most famous person you've interviewed on that one?
Oh, good question. Good question. Michael Stutes is a baseball. It's more in the US. Is a Major League Baseball pitcher
Right.
for the Philadelphia Flyers. Philadelphia Phillies. So he was a big one. A few NBL legends like James Harvey. I don't know if you follow NBL. Yeah, he played for Australia for the Boomers. He was on the podcast. Jason Kadee recently. It's about to be released. There was a few other baseball pitchers and players I interviewed as well. They weren't huge names, but they played in the major leagues. Those are the come to mind, and a few other NBL players as well.
That's awesome. What was the most interesting guest, or who was the most interesting story or guest that you've had on that podcast?
Mate, it was the CEO of a mining company. He's a former NBL player, and his story is incredible. I've got a mind blank on the name, but I'll tell you in a second. And so he played basketball for 15 years.
I've lost your video.
Oh, 1 second. Okay, I'm back on. I was trying to get the name. Mind blank. Lack of sleep. Got a newborn in the house. So assume
we'll put the name at the bottom after this.
Okay, we'll put the name on the bottom. Mate, so basketball player for 15 years, retired. I think he was in like 34, 35 when he retired. Really good career, and wasn't sure what to do next. Just struggled with what's next. Kind of did some coaching kids. Anyway, long story short, one day he was coaching like 5-6-year-olds after he finished his NBL career, and one of the it must have been a 5-year-old, whatever it is. One of the kids pissed on the hardwood floor, right? So he's wiping piss with a towel from this kid. He's on the floor on all fours wiping piss, and it just looks up, like, kind of not at the sky but at the ceiling. He's like, I'm a NBL legend, and at the moment I'm wiping piss on the floor.
That was his moment.
That was his moment.
Moment of fuck.
Mate, and get this, 5 years later, 5 years from that moment, he became CEO of a mining company. So if you want to know how do you go from wiping piss on the floor to 5 years later becoming a CEO of a mining company in Queensland and Western Australia, tune into that episode. I'm sure you'll have show notes later.
A great example of, I guess, the mindset and the strength of an athlete, right? It takes, and you've been there. We all know it. We all hear it. I love a sports analogy. If you listen to this podcast. And, there is an absolute incredible level of resilience in these individuals. You can't get to those heights without putting in effort, without punching through the pain, without putting up with a lot of garbage to try and chase your dreams. So, just because they didn't make it because of injuries or you weren't tall enough or whatever, doesn't mean that skill's lost, right? So I love that you're tapping it. I think it's just such an incredible market sector to be working in, probably really fascinating from your perspective. Like the people you meet and speak to would be so fascinating, because it's not just a particular sport, is it? It's like, it's so many different sports. So as you being an athlete yourself, such respect for different sports, right? Cyclists or ice skaters or whatever.
Mate, I interviewed a cyclist. My latest episode, I haven't released it yet. I interviewed a cyclist. He was a cyclist in the 80s, 90s. It wasn't an Olympic sport yet. Oh, sorry, it was an Olympic sport, but professionals weren't allowed to compete. So much like soccer, it's amateurs only.
Right, yep.
This guy won like 25 world championships. So if he was allowed to be Olympics, man, like he could have been Michael Phelps.
Yeah, yeah.
This dude won, right? So he became a very successful business person, and I reached out to him. But honestly, man, like the best thing about running this business in the last 5 years has been the platform that I've created has enabled me to meet some incredible people like this dude. Like that's been the best part.
I love it. Look, I ask every recruiter that I have on this one question, and it's really get a sense for myself, but hopefully everyone else gets something out of it. I love understanding what people look at on their desk to measure success. Obviously placements. That is what we're here to achieve. But excluding that, what is, if you could only have one KPI to sort of judge the success or the health of your desk, what is it that you look for?
First interviews.
Yeah.
There's client candidate interviews.
Yeah.
As long as I generate a certain amount of first interviews per week, I'll be right. I've assigned a dollar value to it. So every time I generate a first interview, client candidate interview, that's cash in the bank. Like I assign actual cash to that, and makes myself like it's a little short thing. Like we celebrate placements, amazing, but actually I celebrate that more than placements, to be honest. Like there's money right there, awesome. I just made $3,000 because of and then another $3,000, another one. I got my business coach helped me out with a shout out to Paul Lyons, who's a recruitment legend. But yeah, man, first interviews is literally my biggest metric that I measure.
Love it. I'm actually 100% in agreement with that one. I've said this to everyone I speak to. That's my metric. Like if I'm not getting first interviews, it means everything before it's not working, and it sure as hell means I'm not making any deals after it. So yeah. I totally agree. It's a huge inflection point. That's me, man. I've really enjoyed this. This has gone on a little bit longer than we normally do, but it's a really fascinating story. Now we're in each other's worlds. I'm sure I'm going to be touching base and seeing how it goes. But all the best with your journey, man. This is a really cool story. You've made the most of your life so far, and now you're helping others do the same. So well done. I think there's a noble cause in there as well.
No, thank you, Brett. Much appreciated, and well done to what you're doing as well. I got a hold of your podcast probably about 12 months ago. But I've been listening on a weekly basis, sometimes 3-4 times a week. You've got me through this tough recruitment period in the last 2 years. I know the market's been a bit tough. Honestly, thanks to your podcast, you've lifted my spirits and kind of made me focus. Like, man, that's right, Brett. That's what I should be doing a lot of the time. So appreciate you putting your platform out.
I love it. It's a one-way conversation I wasn't actually involved in. Mate, on that note, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Everyone at home, like, share, subscribe. Helps us grow. If you have any semi-professional, professional athletes who are looking to transition, I think Alex is your guy. Everyone's got a mate of a mate who's in sports. I think, Alex, you're happy for people to reach out to you?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's your guy. He's who you direct them to. Guys, like, share, subscribe. Helps us grow. As always, have an amazing day. May all your deals come true.